Hey everybody, John here from No Joke NHL, here with our daily betting report. This is for Monday, 3/18, and we have 7 games on the card tonight, so without further ado, let's get into it. Game number 1, teams 1 and 2, Carolina at the New York Rangers. Rangers are a minus 150 favorite, come back on Carolina at plus 130. And I just received a tweet from Katie Strang from ESPN saying that she was at the Ranger practice this morning. She saw that the top line for the Rangers, Gaborik, Nash, and Richards are together on the same line. They're reunited. So hopefully that will give the Rangers a little bit of a spark. I'm not sure if I could jump on them at this point and do that. They are a nice plus 200, over plus 200 on the puck line. But I think I'm going to watch this game. Carolina coming on for sure. Again, I don't have reports of goaltenders here to know what's going on in as far as that matchup goes. But this should be a very entertaining game. Although I really can't get a feel. Like I said, the Rangers definitely have to get something going on. They're slumping, and it's getting out of hand. So Tortorella making the change and going back with that top line. The problem was before is they weren't getting any production from the other lines with that line together. So maybe he's just try to get anything going. So not necessarily jumping on the Rangers there, but like I said, it should be an entertaining game, and I'm going to watch that. The next game, teams 3 and 4, Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay was a minus 115 favorite this morning. I just checked it before I came on to do this report. And now Philly is the minus 115 favorite here. Basically, this is the epitome of the game that would be, or a game that fits the model of doing the minus 1.5 both ways. So let me take a second to explain the criteria for that, because a lot of people ask me questions. For one, a lot of books do not do that. 5 Dimes happens to be one of the books that does that. Penny is another one that does that. Of course, I'm in the United States, so Pinnacle does not deal with U.S. customers. So there's really a very limited amount of books that do this. 5dimes.eu, the one that I use, does do this. It's a valuable tool, and I've really had success doing it this year. Basically what it is a play on the style of the game. This is a toss-up between the two teams. Philadelphia probably a little more talented maybe, but you really can't, for me, I really can't get a read one way or another who's going to show up and be dominant here. But the one thing I do know is both these teams play a wide open style where they don't play much defense, and so with the money line relatively close, we're going to get a nice almost 5-2 price at minus 1.5 for both these teams. So as long as they don't come in a 1-goal game or go to overtime, we end up cashing this bet, and it works out really well. Like I said, I've had success doing this. And like I said, the criteria is basically 2 teams that play a wide open style. So generally what I'll do is go back in the standings and look at like the previous 10 games for each of the teams individually coming into this matchup and see how many wide open games they played. And then I'll look at this series between the 2 teams and see how many wide open games there are. One recent one of note, the Rangers and Penguins basically have now played 11 straight games where they haven't had a 1-goal game. So it really makes sense when those 2 teams are lined really close to each other money line. It really makes sense to just play the puck line both ways and really let them scrap it out. And as long as, like I said, as long as it doesn't come in to be a 1-goal game. Had a couple dirty bad covers that way. Toyed around. I put a lean out yesterday, the Edmonton-Nashville game, and basically Edmonton had the 3-1 lead, took it at 4 minutes left in the third period, 3-1 lead, and then give up a goal with 10 seconds left in the game to make it 3-2. Definitely frustrating for that. It'd be the same as if a puck line cover that doesn't come in. But basically speaking, I've had success with this, and it is a valuable tool, provided that your book does that. And if you're not at a book that does that, I would highly recommend getting to one that does. I mean, basically, if you're limiting yourself to choices or selections that you can make in order to get a wager down, then you're probably costing yourself some money at some point. So, so if you can get to a book that can do that, great. I highly recommend it because, like I said, it works out. So, long story short, I'm going to be on the minus 1.5 both ways on this game tonight. As like I said, this game fits the model about as best as 2 teams can be. So we're going to definitely be on that. Teams 5 and 6, Calgary at Dallas. We have Dallas as a minus 135 favorite, comeback on Calgary at plus 115. Kiprusoff not making the trip. He's preparing to have his second child, so he's staying back in Calgary with his wife. So he will not be there. So we're going to see either Irving or the other backup, McDonald. I believe McDonald has been listed, so we're going to get McDonald tonight. Most likely Kerry Lettinen, but I have not heard a firm thing there. I don't know. I don't know who I would touch here. I would probably favor Dallas at home, but they got thumped pretty hard by the Blackhawks the other night. We were on the Blackhawks minus 1.5, but never in my wildest dreams did I think it would be an 8-1 victory or 8-2 victory, whatever it was. Like I said, Chicago really took it to them. And so, hard to say who's going to show up. Usually when a team gets beat that badly, regardless of the sport, not necessarily hockey, but usually when you get beat that badly, you come back, with a razor sharpness in the next game to try to get it back. But nothing really to see here for me, so I'm going to pass on this game. Team 7 and 8, Chicago at Colorado, and we have Chicago open up this morning at a minus 140. Comeback on Colorado was plus 120. Money's been coming in on Chicago all day today, minus 150 and plus 130. In Colorado, I'm not crazy about laying the wood with the Blackhawks here. Of course, Colorado ended their streak at the beginning of the season, and so people would say, oh, maybe Chicago has revenge. At this stage of the game, as we're winding down the edge of the end of the season here, a lot of these teams, if you read between the lines in a lot of interviews, a lot of the players saying that really just time off is really what we need and all that kind of stuff with resting. So it's really hard to predict that a team's going to show up with their A effort or anything of the sort. So like I said, I mean, Chicago's certainly way more talented than Colorado, but we saw what that got them. I mean, Colorado beat them 6-2 the last time they faced. I would probably favor Chicago here, but the price is a little out of hand, and I certainly am not interested in laying minus 150 or even taking the Blackhawks at less than 200 on the puck line. And like I said, Chicago really hasn't been a good puck line play. The angle the other night against Dallas is that, in Dallas, usually when they play each other, it's usually a wide open game, and there was no way I could take the Stars there, in a double minus 1.5. So I just took Chicago, and it worked out well. But Chicago has really been a money burner at minus 1.5 so far this year. Teams 9 and 10, San Jose at Anaheim, and we have the Ducks as a minus 150 favorite, come back on the Sharks at plus 130. And you have to like the Ducks here. Again, we talked about the Sharks' woes, and they really haven't, done anything to turn that around or make, like I said, make you think they're anything close to the team that was started the season 7-0. On there, they've turned it around a little bit, and they're not on a losing streak or anything like that. But they're certainly just a rather pedestrian team. Their backup Grace is injured now, and so he's not making the trip to Anaheim. Not that would matter; that would actually increase the chances of playing on Anaheim tonight. But I kind of like the Ducks here. I'm not crazy about laying the 1.5 with the Ducks, but I certainly have them on the money line. I'm going to tie them in a money line parlay. Them and the LA Kings. We'll get to them in a moment. Minnesota at Vancouver. Vancouver's a minus 160 favorite here, plus 140 come back on the Minnesota Wild. I don't have any listings for starters in this game. Could be Schneider versus Backstrom, but again, I don't have any firm indication. And like I said, both these teams, the Wild put together a little run, but they've since lost a couple games. They actually beat Edmonton the other night in Edmonton. So if anything, I would probably lean towards the Wild here. They're starting to put it together with the new acquisitions and getting used to the system and things like that. Same as Carolina, same as the Capitals and things like that. So a lot of these teams that had new personnel and we're trying to make things work, or a new coach and trying to make it work, took a little time to get that. And most teams really haven't had that kind of practice schedule. And like I said, if you read between the lines in the interviews, a lot of these coaches are realizing that rather than practice on the off days and things like that, and have players using up energy in practice and things like that, they've been electing to let them have the time off, provided that there's not any major problems. And so it's hard to say from day to day what you're going to get. I mean, that's one of the crazy things about this season so far that I've noticed. And so if anything, I would go with Minnesota here, but in Vancouver, always a tough place to play, so definitely going to pass on that. And the final game on the card, Phoenix at the LA Kings. Teams 13-14. Kings a -170 favorite here. Actually, I think they've dropped down to a 165 or 160 favorite over Phoenix. Of course, these two teams in the same division, so they know each other well. They played each other in last year's playoffs, and so like I said, they know each other being in their own division. However, the Kings have really started to play some excellent hockey after the start of the season. Maybe a little bit full of themselves after having the long extended off season, Stanley Cup champions, and reading about how great they are and everything else. And that often can have a team relax a little bit, not play quite as hard, but the Kings have certainly turned it around. I think we're going to get Bernier here instead of Quick. I'm not sure who's going to be in goal for Phoenix. I would imagine Mike Smith, with both these teams not playing yesterday. So, and again, I like the Kings here, not on the puck line, although they have had a lot of puck line covers as of late, and this season they're kind of playing a lot of wide open games. So, certainly a puck line cover would be in the cards here. If you're going to take that play, but at -170, it's probably going to be a +180 return on the puck line, and that's bottom end, the lowest I would go on a puck line. But I think I'm just going to take the safer play and do Kings money line and Anaheim money line parlay. Do that, and then go with the Philadelphia Tampa Bay -1.5 on both sides. Started to gather some of the equipment for the improved production videos, and so I'm going to be working with that in the next couple of weeks, ironing out all the kinks and everything. I've hired somebody for a professional logo and everything, so I'm really excited to introduce the playoff No Joke NHL videos, the new ones, and hopefully it'll be everything that I'm touting it to be. Of course, it never is, so I should probably shut up and just put out whatever it is that I have. But anyway, I appreciate the feedback on the videos. I appreciate all the views. Pass them around. Tell everybody No Joke NHL, No Joke NHL on Twitter. And until then, let's make some money, guys.